Up, guys. All right, sweet. We'll kick off today's outlook with a GU. And GU, I didn't actually mind selling kind of where it is, but it keeps stepping up now, so I'm not really interested anymore. What we've got on GU on a higher time frame, obviously we're at the top of an external bullish leg at the minute, on the 15 minute and on the hourly. We have just since last night induced the decisional of that bigger break there, which is a 4 hour break. So really, really good inducement. Since inducing that low, we have pulled down and broken to the downside. So again, it's brought in sellers straight away, but the market's clearly showing us intent right now that this is looking to be more of an inducement rather than a break of structure, just given the reaction that we've got since sweeping that low. And this low, the inducement here, it is a valid demand. It could very well be enough liquidity to counteract the liquidity that we've swept here, given the bullish momentum that we've got in the market. So I would like to buy it, to be honest. If we can come down and sweep this low here, which is more or less the decisional of that break, I'm happy to buy just off the sweep of that. I will treat it as a medium inducement, and I'd just be targeting the high up here and the extension of a new range. Um, you can look to work with something like that as a smart money trap. I'm open to it, but I just don't want to be too high up, just because we're not going to have a whole lot to be able to target. I'd rather buy from somewhere down here and look to be able to target that point, rather than mitigate it. Because if we mitigate that, we're going to need something like that, come down here, and buy up like that. So we'll see how that develops. But yeah, with a bit more luck, we can come down and do something like that. Even mitigating this area, I don't mind. I just don't want to come too close to Asia low. This is a pretty good inducement as well, as it's the decisional of that break there. But like I said, it's more so looking like an inducement at this stage. EU, cool. So obviously EU had swept that point, looking like we're coming up to the extreme. We are mitigating a valid demand. This is retest of that break. However, it did sweep a point that you can consider as a medium inducement. Nonetheless, it is a valid demand, and we have medium induced into the mitigation of that point. This demand obviously broke a high. This demand had an internal inducement as well. So we've medium induced really nicely into the mitigation of it. We've since had inducement low, inducement low. This supply area here, it didn't really do too much. It is the decisional of this break, or you can view that as your decisional of the break. It did take a little bit of liquidity, but the liquidity it took is kind of nothing. And we do have liquidity running across the top in a bullish market coming from a valid demand. So I'm happy to utilize this point as a smart money trap. I don't hate the idea of selling from this point into a buy. Um, it's just obviously quite risky and it goes against the momentum. So I'd need to work with something like this point here as a smart money trap. There we go. It's mitigating that point now. I'd need to work with something like that as a smart money trap and look to be able to sell it down. Ideally, I'd like to come and sweep these for a buy and buy it from down there. You do have obviously this area down here as well. It's probably a 30-minute point there. Yep. You got that 30-minute point that sits there like that, which is also a good point for mitigation. I just don't see it coming down that far if it's going to buy. If it comes down that far, it's probably going to sell. But given the momentum, I don't think we're going to be getting all the way down there. But like I said, I'm happy to look to sell through something like this, to target something like that, to then buy it from there. If we push through this, I would need to take that at least for a sell, but I don't want to get too high up in that leg. I don't know if there's anything on the 5 minute. All of it's filled on the 5 minutes yet. I don't really want to come up there. I probably won't be even looking if we do get up there. So yeah, we'll see how this shapes up on EU. Like I said, sells from there. The only really thing that I don't mind. Yeah, cool. Cool, cool. AU. I don't have a lot on really. We're at the top of a leg. If we can come down and induce that point there, I'm open to looking for buyers. I'm open to buying from that decisional as well. But that's it. I'm not even gonna bother trying to sell it. That's just, yeah, I'm leaving that as is. I'll buy from there or down there. That's all I've got for AU. DXY, which we'll start incorporating again as well. The DXY makes sense to sell. So if we go on a bit of a higher time frame, we've mitigated this point here. We've induced the decisional of that higher time frame break into it. Since mitigating this point, we have now induced retest and we're starting to fall off. So what I'm expecting on the DXY, which lines up with EU, is if we can pull up from here, utilize that as a smart money point, that lines up with EU, giving a bit of a sell. Then yeah, expecting them to get that and to push through that point. So I do just want to keep selling the DXY, buying the others, which makes sense with both EU and GU. We just need to play ball a little bit. We just need to play ball. If the DXY breaks, I don't expect the DXY to push up until it takes at least that point there. Just because if we do break this low here, that's going to confirm that area as a smart money trap. So I'm not going to expect it to hold. It is a medium inducement inside of it, so you've got that aspect to it, which can help EU sells. But that's really about it. That's really about it. We've got no news today. Besides, actually, we do. Sorry, we've got 8 o'clock, Queensland time, red folder news. So that may cause a little bit of an issue. But yeah, we'll see what it wants to do. Like I said, happy to sell it where it is, and we'll just go from there. It's been an interesting week. So yeah, don't don't end it on a bad note.